Hi. Hey, haven't done a video in a while, and I can quickly touch on July plans because they're kind of up in the air. So for July so far, our doors are still locked. We are open. That doesn't mean we're not open for business. The doors are locked because there are so many regulations involved with having those doors open because of the COVID pandemic. And I'm finding most people are really kind of in a place where they either believe that we're in a pandemic or they have decided to completely disregard it, and which is fine. That's our choice as human beings, and that's all good and fine. I would ask though that you don't disregard other people's feelings about this. We are not paranoid inside this building locked away from you. We will answer the door with a mask on. That's a requirement by the CDC. And I don't want to argue with anybody about that. I don't need anybody justifying their choices on things or why they're doing what they're doing. I would like to remind people of who we are as human beings. Sometimes I think people forget that each and every one of us is connected. We are seeing the world right now kind of cracked open like an egg and our insides exposed. And I think it's our Creator's way of having us stop and look inward. And I think a lot of people have not started doing that yet. I think they're looking outward. They're looking for people to blame, things to blame, groups of people to blame, anything they can to blame. And there really isn't a justifiable blaming of anything in our world this day, because we have all joined in together to create what's going on. We've messed up our world. I don't believe that the creator of this planet will ever allow it to be destroyed. I think we will be destroyed and things can start over again, but the planet itself has to sustain. And I think people feel that and kind of understand that at an intuitive level. I have always been, from the time I was a small child, extremely intuitive. I understood things before other people. I knew things before other people. I was constantly told I was wrong. I watch people do this to their children all the time. None of you were born not knowing the truth. You've been taught to disregard the truth. You can believe that or not. That's not for me to decide for you. But I think the best way I can explain what we are going through as a world is if you've ever been on a train or in a car in the mountains and you're heading to a cave. If you're on the train, depending on which car on the train you're in, you could be talking and visiting with someone and looking out the window, and all of a sudden as that train curves, and they always curve toward a mountain entrance, a tunnel entrance, you suddenly see the entrance. And I don't care how experienced you are at that kind of travel or seeing that, there's that little tiny flutter that kind of jumps in your stomach, like, oh my gosh, we're going in a tunnel. It's true in a mountain, in a car going through a tunnel. There's just that little bit of hesitation. I feel that we are heading into a tunnel, and a tunnel of all kinds of things that we don't know what's ahead of us. But I'm telling you from my own personal feelings that I think this pandemic is nothing compared to what we are going to be facing as a human species. I think we have to get our poop in a group as individuals, as communities, as larger communities, and as a world. Now, I'm not talking about taking over the world and everything going. It might all fall apart. That might happen. But here's the thing, and this is truth. I said this in March, and I will say it till I die. You are in charge of you. Nobody is making you do anything. You might be required, you might be asked to, you might be all those things. But ultimately, you're in charge of you. You're in charge of how you feel about things. You're in charge of what your thoughts are. You're in charge of how you feel. And I am a firm believer in that how you feel creates your world, creates your reality. And I feel like right now we have a reality that is splitting. And I think that splitting or that opening up is creating a lot of strong emotions in people. Faith, fear, joy for some people. I know people that are having children right now and have to be feeling extremely anxious. You are not in charge of the world. You can do something about how you raise your child, how you teach them to look at things, to remain calm, to think steadily, to understand how our brains and hearts work. You are occupying a body. This is not forever. You have to find a way to have peace within you during this time. You got to get quiet. Some people call that prayer. Some people call that meditation. But you do have to quiet yourself, not listen to the news, not listen to your friends, not be on electronic devices to do this. Quiet yourself and trust, truly trust the true you inside of you, and listen to what is coming to the surface in your own brain. What kind of thoughts are you thinking? What kind of ways are you feeling? We are all in this crazy roller coaster of a ride right now. Everybody, unless they're medicated or in a coma, is going through this. So please remember your fellow human beings. Don't try to take advantage of people. Don't overtax them and try to take from them during this time. Become a person who can say, I'm in charge of me. I'm in charge of how I treat others, and I'm in charge of what I will and won't tolerate. Be okay with that, but understand that your neighbor might have a totally different view than you, and that's their right. If we want to stay a society that gets along, we have to start accepting and listening. I know people are going overboard with things. You know what? Nothing ever gets better until it kind of gets really bad. Have you ever noticed that? A lot of times you get a wound that's got to hurt like crazy before it starts to heal. So we've got a lot of wounds right now that are coming to the surface. Let's give it some time to let those heal, and let's control ourselves within that and not try to control our neighbor. Enough said of the sermon. I want you to have a blessed day. I want you to be happy. I want you to know that you're perfect. You were created perfectly. Remind yourself of that often. Love you. Have a great day.